Okay, class, we're about to start section 2.4, formulas and percents. Okay, now, it says solving a formula for a variable means rewriting the formula so that the variable is isolated on one side of the equation. It does not mean obtaining a numerical value for the variable. So for this problem here, we had W is equal to F times D for D. That means that we want to get D by itself. So we would have W is equal to FD So now, to get D by itself, we need to get rid of this F. To get rid of F, we divide each side by F because that F is connected to D by multiplication. So our final answer here will be W divided by F is equal to D. Because remember, these F's will simplify out. Now we come here to B. We have AX plus BY equals C, and we want to solve for X. So we'll rewrite this equation, AX plus BY equals C, and we want to get X by itself, so we will subtract BY on both sides. So we will have AX is equal to C minus BY, and now we have to get X by itself, so we would divide each side by capital A. So these A's will simplify out, and we will have X is equal to C minus BY all over A. And that is our final answer. Now, we scroll down here to C. We have A is equal to P times the parenthesis 1 plus RT, and we want to solve for T. So what I would suggest we do here, let's do the distributive property first. P times 1 is P, and P times RT is a positive PRT. Now, the first thing we should do here is subtract P on both sides. So we will have A minus P is equal to PRT. Now we need to get T by itself. So P and R is connected to T by multiplication. So we'll divide each side by PR. So we will have A minus P all over P times R is equal to T, because these PRs simplify out. And this is your final answer. Now we come to D. We have C over 2 plus 80 is equal to 2F, and we want to solve for C. So we have C over 2 plus 80 is equal to 2F. Now, the first thing we should do is subtract 80 on both sides. So we will have C over 2 is equal to F minus 80. And now, we have to get rid of this 2 out of the denominator. So we're going to multiply everything by 2. So we could take 2 times 2, well, 2 over 1. 2 times C is 2C, and 1 times 2 is 2. And that equals to 2 times the expression F minus 80. These 2's will simplify out, and you will be left with C. And C is equal to 2 times F is 2F, and 2 times a minus 80 is a minus 160. And so this is your final answer. Now we scroll down here to objective 2. It says use the percent formula. It says in the formula A equals P times B. Here we want to solve for B. So we would take this equation. I'm going to go over here to the side. We would take this equation, which is also a formula, and this time we'll solve for B. So we need to get rid of the P off of the B, and we do that by division. So our final answer here would be A over P is equal to B. So B is equal to A over P. So that took care of the first one. Now we want to get P by itself. So we go back to that original formula, A is equal to PB, and then we want to get P by itself. Now, of course, B is connected to P by multiplication, So we could divide each side by b, and then we would have a over b is equal to p. So p is equal to a divided by b. Now we want to get a by itself, and a is already by itself, so we'll write pb, and that's it. Now we go down here to example 2. It says, what is 3% of 200? Now let's look at these keywords. The word what, we don't know what it is, so we'll denote that with X. Is means equal. 3%, we could write that as a decimal, which is 0.03. The word of means multiplication. And 200, we know would be just 200. So we'll have X is equal to 0.03 times 200. We can go off to the side and multiply. 3 times 0 is 0, 3 times 0 is 0, and 3 times 2 is 6. We don't need to multiply these zeros. So we count how many digits we have behind the decimal, which is 2. So this is 6.00, which we know is just 6. Okay, now we go down here to example 3. We have 24% of what number is 40.8. So the first thing we would do is this 24% is 0.24. So it's 0.24. Of, we know, means multiplication. What number, or the word what, is your X value? Is means equal. And 40.8 is just 40.8. Now we have 0.24 times X is equal to 40.8. So we would divide each side by 0.24. And we will have X is equal to. Now you can take a calculator and do this problem and get your final answer. But if you want to do it by hand, you could do it like this. We have 0.24 into 40.8. Now you have to move this decimal 2 places to the right. Move this decimal 2 places to the right. So you have 24 into 4,080. And we'll just put our decimal back there just in case we need it. 24 goes into 40 once. 40 minus 24 is 16. We bring down our 8. Now 24 goes into 168. Have to be 7 times. 7 times 4 is 28. Carry your 2. 7 times 2 is 14 plus 2 is 16. So that leaves 0. So we bring down this 0, which is still 0, and 24 goes into 0 0 times. So your final answer here is just 170. Now we go down here to example 4. It says 3 is what percent of 15? So again, we have 3. The word is means equals. What percent is X? Of means multiplication. And 15 is 15. Now, we will divide each side by 15 to get X by itself. So now 3 and 15 both has 3 in common. So that will leave you 1/5, because you would divide this 3 by 3. And you will also divide this 15 by 3. So you have 1/5 equals X. Now this would be okay if they ask you what number, but they ask what percent. So what we would have to do here is go off to the side, or you could take your calculator and take 5 into 1.0. 5 goes into 1 0 times. 5 goes into 10. Oh, actually twice, not 4 times. 5 goes into 10 2 times. 2 times 5 is 10. So you have no remainder. So our final answer here is 0.2. Now we have to change this decimal to a percent. So we will move this decimal 2 places to the right, and that would give us 20%. So your final answer is 20% is equal to X. Now we go here to objective 3. It says solve applied problems involving percent change. Okay, example 5. It says suppose the local sales tax rate is 6% and you buy a car for $16,800. It says how much tax is due. So what you would have to do is this here. You would have to take $16,800 and multiply it by 6%, which is 0.06. Now, there is a formula that you could use. You could write down, well, I could put this as equals X. But what you could write this down is sales price times sales tax is equal to, oh, actually this is supposed to be sales tax rate, not just sales tax, it's sales tax rate. And this equals to the sales tax. So again, you add a sales price multiplied by the sales tax rate, and it's equal to the sales tax. So now, we can multiply this here. I just need to move this down just a little bit so we will have the room to do this problem. Okay, now we're going to take this $16,800 and multiply it by 0.06. 6 times 0 is 0, 6 times 0 is 0, 6 times 8 is 48, carry our 4, 6 times 6 is 36, plus 4 is 40, 6 times 1 is 6, plus 4 is 10. Now we have 2 digits behind the decimal here, so we'll put 2 digits behind the decimal here. So how much tax is due? It'll be $1,008 is the tax due. Okay, now they want us to put what is the car's total price. So we could take the sales price, which is $16,800, and we would add the sales tax onto it, which is $1,008. 0 and 8 is 8, 0 and 0 is 0, 8 plus 0 is 8, 6 plus 1 is 7, and then you'll bring down this 1 here. So your final answer is $17,808 is the car's total price. Okay, now we scroll down here to example 6. Now it says, suppose that you put $10,000 in a rather risky investment recommended by your financial advisor. During the first year, your investment decreases by 30% of its original value. During the second year, your investment increases by 40% of its first year value. Your advisor tells you that there must have been a 10% overall increase of your original $10,000 investment. Is your financial advisor using percentages properly? If not, what is the actual percentage gain or loss on your original $10,000 investment? Now, before we could determine if this is correct or not, we first must determine how much would 10% of the overall investment be. So let's go off to the side. We have $10,000 times 10% is really 0.10. So if you take $10,000 times 0.10, then we know that that is $1,000. So basically what would have to happen is you would have to, at the end of a year, no, it's actually the end of the second year, that you would have to have at least $11,000, because that would show that you had a $1,000 increase, which is what you were supposed to have. So now let's go here to example 6. So we're looking to end up with $11,000. So this is what we would do.